Welcome, everybody. I'm gonna scooch back a little bit here. Check in with some chats. Okay, here we go. Welcome to CommunityFIT. I'm your host, James, and this is your midweek desk stretch. We are super happy to have you here. Welcome to all of the brand new people, and welcome back anyone who's been with us for a bit. While I'm doing a little talking up top, go ahead and drop in the chat if there are any requests for today. We already have a request for some low body stretches. We have a request carrying over from last week about IT bands, and I want to start there when we get to it. So know you're heard if it's like IT bands or lower body stuff, but go ahead and drop it in the chat if there are any other requests for today of some aches, some pains, some tension, some embodiment areas you'd like to work on. Before we start class, we want to let you know that we have an event coming up this Saturday coming up. William Land Park. It is the Heart Walk, and opening ceremonies start at 8:30. The walk starts at 9 a.m. Land Park, downtown Sacramento, this Saturday. Heart Walk, 8:30 a.m. ceremony starts, 9 a.m. walk starts. I'll be there. Alicia will be there. Raymond will be there. We may even bring some of our dog friends there. So it will be a good time for you to come out, meet us in person, connect, communicate, share, whatever it is you'd like, and form a little bit of community. So we just want to let you know that. Alicia at some point will be dropping in the chat. She may even come on at the end and talk a little bit more about the day's events. There it is. I see it. Okay, let me check in with the chat here. We have some neck and shoulders stuff going on. We've got some low back and hip, especially scoliosis and sciatica. Got it. Okay, so that is where we're going to start today. We're going to have a lower body focus, and then we're going to take that up into the neck, and that is where we're going for today. As always, we always get started with our nervous system regulation practices because nervous system stuff is the key to everything. If you want to know more about nervous system stuff, join us on Fridays. That's really what the class is centered on Fridays, Adjusting to Change Toolkit. For today, go ahead and do, if you have a practice that makes you feel grounded, that makes you feel good, that makes you feel regulated, whether that's orientation or breath work or just petting a dog. Bob, you can kind of see his ear, like right here. This is Bob's ear. At some point, I have a feeling he's going to join us today. He's been like up and down today. So it could be just petting a puppy. For the rest of us, I'm going to guide you through a little bit of breath work. We're going to go into a physiological sigh, and then I don't know what else we're going to do yet. So physiological sigh is a double inhale followed by a single exhalation. That's an inhale, a secondary inhale, prolonged exhalation. It's going to look and sound a lot like this. Got it? We're going to do 3 to 5. We're going to do, you know what? Let's reframe that. You have 30 seconds to do as many or as few physiological sighs as makes sense to you, starting now. Another 10 seconds. And then for me today, I'm going to go into some butterfly taps. So I take my right hand and my left hand and I crisscross them at the thumbs. Let my hands rest on my chest. And I'm just going to tap fingers on one side. They can go fast. They can go slow. They can kind of ripple, whatever feels good. This is one of those that just takes a little time. At first, it's just like, well, my hands are crossed when I'm tapping. Cool. But after a little bit of time, you're like, oh, got it. Like there's a shift going on. You can do the other side. You could do both. And when you feel like you've had enough, go ahead, just take a little inventory. Notice whatever it is you notice. Okay, here we go. Let's start off with the talk about IT bans because everything we're doing today, well, I guess you can make an argument that the next stuff we will be doing isn't really, but especially all the lower body stuff is all for your IT bands. Last week we had a question about like how do you stretch an IT band? And here's the answer that may be controversial and contrary to what you read on the interwebs. You cannot stretch your IT bands. Your IT band, which is a band of tissue that runs from your hip down to your knee and kind of crisscrosses over and behind, cannot be stretched. Can't be stretched. It is made out of connective tissue that is tougher than Kevlar. Kevlar is what they make like bulletproof vests out of. Even when you do a dissection lab and you're trying to cut through an IT band with a sharpened scalpel, you have to keep cutting it over and over and over. It's thick, it's hard. It's dense connective tissue, and for a reason. That connective tissue is designed to support knee stability with complex hip and ankle and foot movement. You have a very, very, very smart hip joint that can move in a lot of different ways. Very, very, very smart ankle joint that can move in a lot of different ways. You have tremendously intelligent feet that can move in a lot of different ways. And then you have a pretty dumb knee in between all of that. That basically hinges like a door, right? Open, close, open, close, open, close. So, in order to protect that relatively dumb joint from the tons of movement above and below it, the IT band kind of tightens up, protects, surrounds, connects, reinforces the knee to the best of its ability. So, if you feel like you have tight IT bands, right? Or you have been told you have tight IT bands, what you really have is a disintegrated. You have a disintegrated neuromuscular system, meaning your quads, your hamstrings, your glutes, your calves are not all equally balanced in the way that they need to be in order for the movement pattern itself to protect your knee, meaning you've got weak quads or tight hamstrings or lazy hamstrings and overly tight quads, quads that are stretched too long and hamstrings that are too short, generally speaking because of not enough diversity in movement patterning and or an injury. So we're not going to worry about stretching an IT band. Now, with that, you can rehydrate an IT band. Well, how do you do that? Well, massage therapy, number one, foam rollers. And when we foam roll, it's not a foam rolling class, it's slow. It's like a soft foam roller. It's slow and it's done over time. Like you're not going to get it done in one session. We're talking about foam rolling for months every day to rehydrate, reformat, restructure that tissue. What we can do is kind of stretch and strengthen some quads, some butt cheek muscles, quads, front of the legs, hamstrings, back of the legs, so on and so forth. So it's about getting more and more movement, including some of the stuff we're doing today. And I wanted to say that because it doesn't matter how many times I say it, how many classes we have. The internet is full of information about how to stretch and whatever, and we get these questions all the time. So it's not you. I just need to get on my soapbox about a few things every single session, or at least once a year, and IT bands is one of those things. Now, what can we do then? Well, I'm going to scooch back and we're going to start, since we're working from like the low body up today, let's start with the lowest body. Let's start with the feet. I'm going to always teach from my perspective. I have 2 feet, totally typical body, and I'm at home, so I am barefoot today. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to interlace fingers in between toes. And that's where we're going to start. Hand grabs a hold, and we're going to start just getting some movement like this. You can see it's not just an ankle movement. I'm integrating ankle all the way up to opposite shoulder with just this movement. Now, you can hold your shoe and do this. You can just sit there and kind of do this. If you are at an office And or you're like, I'm just not taking my shoes off today, James. Fine, do that. We're just getting in some ankle movement one way, another way. You can get that upper body movement in with it, all the better. Then we're going to do a little tug. It's like it's like my fingers are trapped. And then I'm going to take both hands. I'm going to grab a hold of the foot and I'm going to twist, 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 twist. Then I'm going to have one hand on my heel, one hand on my forefoot. I'm going to wring them out like you might wring out a wet cloth. And then last but not least, I'm going to take and just kind of pound, hit, compress the bottom of the foot. And then I'm going to take and kind of cup my hands all the way up, just kind of work through here. Now, if you're like, I can't even get it like this, I cannot get my leg like this, James, well, you can put it up on a table and do it. You can extend the opposite leg out, small spaces, kind of go here, do that, so on and so forth. You just make your environment work better for you. So here we are, whatever we can get there. Now I'm going to take the heel of my hand and just kind of push into the calf muscle a bit. Now you can see I'm not just like staying still and using my hand. It's like I'm pushing my whole body into it. If you remember last week, we did like a rocking exercise. So we're just adding that in here. It's like the rock does the compression. And then pause. Keep your leg in whatever stretch orientation you have, and then twist your body in one direction, and then twist your body in the opposite direction. One more in each direction. One more over here. Set the leg down and just notice any differences between your left and your right sides. And then let's do the other side. So, picking it up, interlacing fingers to toes, getting that circular action in. And reverse that. Little tug, a little twist up top. One hand grabs a hold of heel, one hand grabs a hold of forefoot, and they twist opposite of each other. And then a little compression, little pounding. Cupping both hands and working your way through your leg a bit. And then with the heel of the hand, almost like you're kneading bread with your whole body. Oh, welcome. Welcome. Hello, Bob. You see a little snout right there. What are you doing today, sir? Did the pounding ruin your nap? You can go back to bed. Just a little movement. Good. Then relax. I'm going to scooch back just a bit more. And from there, you can see I'm just going to start kind of like pounding or moving the legs. Now, with this, I'm going to demonstrate. Imagine give some black here. Imagine my feet, my hands are my feet here. What I want to do is lift heels, then balls of the feet, then toes from the floor. Toes go back down, balls of the feet, heels, heel, ball, toe, toe, ball, heel. And we're just going to kind of move like this a bit. You can do this in shoes too. It's much harder, especially if it's a thick or a heavy soled shoe, but you can. You can lift and kind of move through there. But it's best done barefoot. So if that's not appropriate for you right now, maybe recall this exercise for your home. And you might need to move slow at first. You might need to go heel, ball, toes, toes, ball, heel, heel, ball, toe, toe, ball, heel. And then eventually maybe it's a little faster. Maybe there's no arms on the chair. A little bit of core work here, a little bit of movement. Just kind of waking up the legs. And then relax. Scooch to the front of your chair. Open up your legs wider than your hips are. We're going to take both hands and just kind of press open the legs a bit. And as you do that, you're going to lift your chest. And then we're going to allow the legs to come together. And you're going to notice my hands are going to come together. And that rounds my back. Open, lift. Close, spread. You can do it with your legs totally together. Open, lift. Or even no leg movement at all. Open, lift, and close. I like this. Works well for my body. More, whatever you got going on. From there, hands can move either to the arms. I don't know what kind of chair you got going. Might be an armed chair. You might just have a seat. If it's one that is like very, very movable, like wheels on a hard surface, maybe skip this one or monitor, right? Hands are going to go wherever they're comfortable. Feet are going to go out in front of you about hip distance, which is about one of your foot distance apart from each other. It's about 6-7 inches apart from each other. From there, I'm going to push down with my arms, push down with my legs to lift my hips, and then come back down. Cardinal rule of movement. In order to go up, something's got to push down. So arms and feet push down to lift my hips. Back down. Now I can keep doing that or crisscross one leg over the other. This knee, the knee that's unsupported here, is going to try its best to touch the floor. So it's constantly pulling down as I lift and lower. Pulling down as I lift. We're going to add to this one. Come back down, lean forward. Reset. Other side. Start off just testing the waters, right? Like, what is that going to feel like? Cool. Do I want to do a stretch forward? One more. And reset. From there, go ahead and stand up. I'm going to readjust my camera just a bit. Because now we're going to come up to a standing position. For our standing position, we're going to take one foot, put it on top of a chair here. Now, again, if you have a rolly chair, maybe not the best. You can have a table, a desk, a bench, whatever you got. From there, my hands go on top of my knees, my upper knee here. That knee tracks forward over my toe and then back. As I go forward, my knee goes in front of my toe and back. Now, which toe? Big toe or second toe? Not the little toe, not on the inside of the big toe. It tracks over the big or the second toe and back. Big or second toe and back. Now, Because we're working on a lot of this is working on and organizing that IT band. We've sort of moved some stuff, strengthened some stuff. So let's work on mobilizing now. My knee goes, this is my left foot, goes to the inside of that left big toe, to the outside of the little toe. My heel, my forefoot has never lifted. I'm just making some circles. Now, if you want to see what this looks like from the front, looks a lot like a circular pattern. Notice that it's not my whole body going for a spin. It's my leg inside of my hip joint. Organizing, and my hands are supporting the knee. Adding that extra resource in there. Helping to get some movement in the ankle and the hip. And then reverse. From there, stretch the leg out straight, lift the toes, right? So they're gonna lift, stretch, come back, a little lunge forward. Stretch, lift the toes, come back forward. One more, stretch, lift the toes, and reset. Check in. What is the distinction between my left and my right sides right now? Then, other side. Your left and your right sides are not twins. They are siblings, meaning they each need something a little bit different. So maybe this side feels different, needs something different, needs you to move slower, faster. So it's a you figure it out moment as you go forward and back. What does my body need? And then circles to get some movement in that hip and that ankle. And reverse. And then I can go and get that stretch and that lunge. Stretch, toes lift, and lunge. One more. Stretch and lunge. Then come to the back of your chair. Open up your legs wider than the chair is. Check in with your feet. Are your toes and your heels in alignment, or are they kind of rotated open? See if you can get them into alignment so that your feet are on relatively straight or forward. From there, I just shift my hips to the right, shift my hips to the left. Right now, right, is just a hip shift. For some people, like that's enough. You might feel a stretch in the groin, you might feel a stretch in a hamstring, you might feel a stretch in a number of different places. If this is enough, stay here. If not, lunge to the right or hip shift to the right, bend the right knee and sink into that stretch a little bit more. Then your other side, shift and sink. Shift and sink. Shift and sink. Shift and sink. And shift and sink. Center. Open up even wider. Feet on straight. Bend both knees. Sink down into that. You can even come, kind of do this from the side here. Sinking low. And back up. See if you can feel or invite your upper leg bones to sink or be pulled or suctioned or vacuumed into the hip sockets, right? It's like I'm pulling my leg bones into my hip sockets. And then rest. Again, pulling them into the hip sockets and rest. And rest. Hands go on the chair, and it's a cat and a cow. Cat and a cow. Two more. Cat, cow, last one, a cat and a cow. Go ahead and stand up. From there, standing with your feet about body distance apart from each other, twisting right, twisting left, and just let your arms swing. Now, keep doing this and see if you can just keep your eyes forward. 4, 3, 2, 1. Center, just bounce. A little jiggle, a little bounce, left and right. Lifting the heels up to the toes, arms and shoulders get to jiggle. Buckle your knees, really jiggle. Let out a sigh. And back to center. Checking in with what felt really difficult and what felt really good. And maybe those might be things to continue to practice, right? What one or two things felt really hard, what one or two things felt really good. Now, let's move up the chain a bit. Sometimes when we're working on like feet, knees, ankles, hips, spine, that automatically starts to unravel or let go or change what's going on in the neck and the shoulders. But if it hasn't, let's bring the hands together. Let's bring them onto the jaws. A little compression in, a little compression down, working directly with some nerves. And then to the front of the throat, just let your head kind of hang into your hands. Rocking right, rocking left. Head lifts, both hands go to the back of the neck, and it's like my fingertips are going to touch back there. Elbows hang heavy, head lifts, hands kind of pull and traction apart from one another. Hands meet, head falls. Repeat. Head lifts as hands pull. Palms of the hands or heels of the hands meet, head falls into hands. One more of those. Center. Right hand, left throat, big heavy hand draws to middle as I twist. Other side, big heavy hand draws to middle. Big heavy hand. Big heavy hand. Facing forward, just some little gentle circles in the nose. And then reverse. Finishing off fingertip taps kind of all over the face, hairline, head. Hands rested. Again, just reflecting. Now, hopefully, probably you learned some stuff about legs, hips, movement, what you can do in the chair. Now, if you suffer or have a tumultuous relationship with your IT bands, we have tons of videos on our YouTube page, Western Health Advantage's YouTube page, in a class that's now retired, which is Move Lab. And in Move Lab, we really focused on exercise for exercise sake. what would be helpful is to watch some of those videos, and especially anything with the archetypal seated postures, meaning where we're sitting on our heels, where we're sitting straight-legged, where we're floor sitting, or fall practice, or ups and downs off of a floor would really help to tonify some of that. I'll stick around for whatever questions you might have. Alicia, I invite you back on if you're going to come back on. Remember, Heart Walk this Saturday, William Land Park. Alicia, I'll turn it over to you.
Just real quick, just want to invite you to come and say hi to us. We're going to have Western Health Advantage is going to have a booth out there. James is going to join us. There's a lot of festivities, family fun festivities. You can choose to do the walk or not do the walk. You don't even have to register online. You can just show up and do the walk. But if you want to register and get some more information, and you could even join our Western Health Advantage team if you want to. So the link that I put in earlier should still be there. If you need it again, just let me know. But we would love to see you because it's been a lot of fun. In previous years, I actually haven't been to the Heart Walk since before the pandemic. So I am really excited to get back out there again. It's always a really fun time. Music. There's going to be one of the vendors is going to be a farmer's market. So I think it'll be a really good community event for us. So hope to see you out there.
Hey, thank you, everyone. I don't see any questions. We got a lot of thank yous there. Appreciate it. And again, I will be there this Saturday. Alicia will be there. Raymond, I think, will be there as well. We will all be there. And like we said, possibly some dogs. So thank you so much. We hope to see you, and we'll hopefully see you before then. Hopefully we'll see you on Friday for our Adjusting to Change toolkit, which had a really good kickoff on Friday. It's not too late to join. We went over some mindfulness practices last Friday. This Friday, we're going to go over some nervous system toolkit exercises. So feel free to join us on that. And in the meantime, I'm out of here. Bye, everybody. Thanks. Oh, Mohammed, I see one comment on here about getting a knot that's been in the upper back. Um, Join us next week. Make sure you drop that into the chat if I don't remember. We will work on some shoulders and some upper back stuff next week. It's all about that. It's all about bringing back aliveness into the tissue, and I'll leave you with that. So join us next week. I hope to see you there. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.